Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, Chargers beat reporter for Sports Illustrated. And with me, as always, my co-host Gilbert Manzano, Chargers beat reporter for the OC Register and the LA Daily News. But Gilbert and I are not alone. It is Tres Compas on the Beat today with someone you can find at CBS2. He's the voice of boxing, El Jefe from Carson, a man of the people. I am talking about the great Beto Duran. What's up, Beto?
Oh, I can't be a bro?
All right, I got you. Hold on. What's up, bro?
Dude, I've never seen your face make that "What's up, bro" intro. Wow. No wonder Gilbert, because I only listen to you guys on the podcast version, the audio version. No wonder Gilbert always has a delay.
No, it comes at you really hard, Beto, and I'm so glad you got to see it in person live. I know you're a big fan of the "What's up, bro?" I can't even do it. I don't know what I'm trying, but Beto, I know you like Fernando for many qualities, but you're not really a big fan of the no drinking rule that he has. So
no. Okay. First of all, thanks for letting me come onto the show. I'm honored to be your 8th guest, even though I was the one that kind of
never happy, huh?
But I know my role. I'm the salty Theo. I know what's up. I didn't say I like the "What's up, bro." I'm mocking the "What's up, bro."
I knew that.
Yeah, it's Fernando. I'm really happy for you guys. I'm a big fan of Fernando, kind of. Gilbert, I've been a big fan of yours for years, even from a distant. So I'm really happy for what you guys are going through, what you guys are having, and the "What's up, bro" is fun. And as far as like the no drinking, it's no big deal. I respect anybody who says that they don't want to drink. My thing is, if you don't want to drink and you're at a bar, you can still buy. So as long as you buy, I don't care. I don't care if you get loaded. I don't care if you don't drink. But don't be hanging out with us and then come empty-handed. That's another thing. So if you're going to be a Mexican, you're going to go to a party and you're going to be empty-handed, then don't. So also the people who don't drink and always say, "Oh, why are you drinking?" Like the judgmental non-drinkers, I don't need that. So the fact that you're Mexican and you don't drink, Fernando, a lot of credit for you, because I heard the last episode Gilbert talking about you're like 15, 16 and hey, take a sip here, take a drink there. So you've never drank, Fernando?
I did when I was like 14, but then like I didn't like the sensation of it, the feeling of it, and I was like, okay, no, I'm good.
Because you're not supposed to at 14.
Yeah, but I mean, you go down to Mexico, all your cousins are drinking, older cousins, all your uncles and all that. So I tried it and I was like, I'm like, no, I'm good.
So you're not opposed to it?
No, I just don't like it. I mean, I don't.
You were drinking beer. Beer is nasty.
No. I think. Oh yeah. That's what I was.
And you were probably drinking cheap tequila, which is even nastier. So I can see you becoming a Scotch guy, a little whiskey, like me. Oh yeah,
wow.
Like I can see that. You'll be the guy who's gonna have like one nice and neat wine. A little too bougie for you, but I can see you a little something like that. We got cheap.
And honestly, like I
step it up, man.
No, hey, Beto, let me cut you off, Beto, because you're on our show today. We're gonna interview you. What's up with the question, Fernando?
That's why you guys know me. I take over shows. And
I know. That's why I'm gonna go in and ask you a tough question.
No. Hold on. I'm not done here. You calm down. First of all, like I was telling you, Fernando, when you show up to a party, you never show up empty-handed. To Compas on the Beat, I show up. A nice 32 ounce of Modelo for my good friend Fernando.
La Ballena Modelo right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Exactly. Now you gotta watch a video version for this big Modelo right here.
Oh yeah, you have
Modelo
to.
Right here, especial. Now, if anybody shows up with one of these, Fernando, go away from him. You don't need to be around that person, because the person that shows up with the big bottle like that wants to get loaded. For you, Fernando,
funny?
I got you this. A bottle of tequila.
Oh wow.
So,
okay.
This is tequila, and I got you. This is all for you. So for you're having some kind of party I got invited to that I probably won't go to, but here it is. I'm bringing this to your party.
I appreciate it. Hey, it's funny because my brother does drink alcohol, and he doesn't like beer. But then my mom bought, when Gilbert and Eric came down for some. I mean, Gilbert and I had this Compas thing, and my brother tried Modelo, and he's like, okay, I'm a beer fan now. Like, he likes Modelo, so he drinks Modelos thanks to Gilbert.
Beto, I'm curious now. Where did you buy that big 40-ounce Modelo? I can't find that one anywhere. Give me your hookup.
Sponsored, bro. I told you guys, stick with me. We'll take care of it. My podcast is sponsored by a craft beer company, Craft Beer Kings. They take care of me. I got my own beer. So you guys, you need to branch out. You can't just be on a beat. You got to have multiple sources everywhere.
Compas on the beats.
There it is.
Okay,
There it is.
I'm gonna change it. But Beto, how about with you? You're Mexican, but you don't like what? What is your thing? I want to hear it.
What? As far as
You're
what?
Mexican, but
Like
what
Gilbert
you
doesn't like avocados.
Oh, that thing you guys were talking
Yeah.
about. You're Mexican, but if you don't like it, whatever. Like,
What-
I'm
you
not
guys
even
gotta
gonna start
get
with
it.
you in avocado, bro.
See, people had more of a deal about Gilbert not liking avocados more than he thought they were going to get on me for not drinking. No, they got on him for the avocados.
No,
thing.
because drinking is bad for you. It messes you up. It messes up your body. It causes bad judgment. It causes you to make things you don't want to do. Avocados is a healthy fat. Like, what is wrong with you?
It's disgusting. I don't like the taste of it. And why do I have to pay extra for something I don't like? I'm not gonna
Because
do
it's
it.
expensive.
You're getting ripped off. It sounds like a scam to me, Beto.
Oh my god. So stop going to Chipotle and you would be all right. Also, you need. I'm gonna send you guys a story. There was a story about the avocado trade in Michoacan and how it was being run by the cartels.
There's money there.
Okay,
There you go.
now go think about it. Cartel avocados, and you're gonna complain about paying extra $2? I'm not. I'm gonna be like, no. See, go ahead.
I'll start the business. I won't eat it, but I'll start a business. Avocado. I'm gonna get a farm and grow a bunch of them. I'm ready.
Yeah, real easy, real easy.
Yeah.
Like you know how to do manual labor. Get out of here.
No, sabes, Beto.
my grandpa actually had a tree in his backyard, and it took him forever to
Shocker!
finally
A
grow.
Mexican had an avocado tree. Did he have a lime tree, a lemon tree?
My grandpa was actually white, and he did
I
have a
heard
lemon
all
tree.
that. The guy from Arkansas.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
listened to the
so
show.
my grandpa actually, we appreciate it. Yeah, my grandpa had a apple tree, a lemon tree, and an avocado tree.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
I remember as soon as the season started, he would take care of it. Like, he'd go out there, water it every day, make sure he took care of it because he's like, it's
You
in
have
season.
to.
I know, no,
You're supposed
exactly.
to.
No, I know you're supposed to, but like he would like show us how to take care of it and everything, so that we knew how to take care of those trees, and it was awesome, an awesome feeling to like get to go out there and see the apple finally grow or see the lemons actually grow. And I mean, we didn't have to go to the store. We could just, hey, I want an apple, go into the backyard, grab one, and come back in. Or I need some lemon or limes for chile con papas, papas con chile, all that stuff, and put lemon on it. There you go. You didn't have to go to the store.
Sounds like a business plan, Beto and Fernando. We should get into this, man. The Compas selling avocados. Why not?
First of all, no. Like you guys complain about writing on a deadline, and you're gonna worry about like going and tending to your garden. No. Oh, you're dealing with this. No. You guys complain about being in a press box and the air conditioning's not on, so you're gonna be outside like pruning trees.
No, the only thing we complain about is getting kicked out at 8:00 at night from SoFi Stadium when we still are writing and
Write
working.
faster.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't. Beto, come on. You're on the zone. You're the boxing voice. Come on. We're not big time like you. We're trying to get to that level. So
No, that's why. No, we don't work. We wear makeup on TV, and we wear like we don't do man. There's a reason we chose these communications majors because they're easy compared to real chemistry and engineering that people have real degrees. Like no, like we took the easy way out because we talk.
speaking of easy way, you never gave me an answer for your Mexican, but you don't like what?
I like everything. Only I don't that the thing that I don't like that's Mexican. I don't know. Like I was looking at that Twitter tweet or that thread about it. I really wasn't really.
You like everything.
I mean, the only thing I don't like are onions. Like that's about it.
I respect that.
I expected something better, but all right.
You would expect it too, but I like tequila. I like beer. I like Mexican food.
Typical
Okay,
Mexican.
here's what I don't like. But it's not like that. I hate it when people say, "Hey, where is the best Mexican food at?" Like my mom's house, because that's where the best food is at because it's for you. So I still don't get like. I mean, you go and get late night tacos because you're loaded and you're all right. We'll get these like different kind of styles, whatever. Like you're not gonna have al pastor in your backyard, but like you go get that. But as far as like, what I hate when people are like, "Oh, where are the best tacos at?" In LA. Well, LA is so damn big. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know what goes on in the valley. I don't go up there, so I stay where I'm at.
Burritos are also not Mexican too.
What?
People need to know that burritos are not Mexican. A lot of
They're
people think that like California burritos are Mexican and all that. I'm like, no, that's not Mexican. Like,
No, burritos were started in San Francisco.
exactly. People would not in Mexico. People like will not put French fries, carne asada, and cheese together. They'll be like, "What is?"
Well, you
this?
shouldn't do that anyways. San Diego people, man.
Hey,
Okay,
those
that's
are
what
the
it is. I hate those. I hate burritos with fries in it. There, are they happy now?
There you go. All right, so Beto, you encouraged us to share our stories, but now it is time to hear your story because you've done a lot in this business. You were an intern for CNN covering the.
You're going so professional on me. You're going really, really professional on this.
We're off the rails, Beto. We're trying to interview you.
Okay, first of all, look. All right, tell the people the background with us.
No, well, I mean, I met you when I started covering when the Chargers moved to LA. I remember I would just see you by yourself at one of the tables doing stuff on a computer, and I remember one time I showed up. I was there early, then you showed up, and then we just got to talking, and literally that's how our relationship started growing. I mean, that's how our relationship started growing.
All right. So, but you haven't introduced me. You're having a podcast, but you haven't introduced your guest.
I did introduce you.
No,
good one
at the beginning.
El Jefe de Carson.
Yeah.
But what does it mean? Because when MJ Acosta came on, you gave everything about her. Like, she's the reason I have a career,
bro.
She told me, hey, you just graduated, right? We're hiring. Everything all about this. You have the wrestling guys on. Oh my God. Me, it's like, here's Beto.
No, that's not
celoso.
Beto's a guy that Beto is honestly.
If I'm a regular listener right now, I'm like, well, who's this guy? Why did they bring him on? What's the point of him?
I said CBS too. Beto's in everything, boxing. I mean, honestly, the most impressive thing
you're
to
too
me,
easy, man.
No. I'm gonna be honest. The one thing that I remember you from before ever meeting you was all the Lakers stuff.
Yeah.
You were, I mean, I was a huge Laker fan growing up, and I remember watching you and reporting on ESPN or all that stuff. And I remember you from the Spectrum videos where like you guys go back and you rank the top 10 this and the top 10
still that. Going on now.
I know, and I saw you on there. That was clean cut Beto though. That was clean cut
like 8 years ago.
I know, exactly. So I mean that's what I kind of want the listeners to know about, and I want to know about that because I remember that era where it was the Shaq Kobe Lakers, and then it goes into that era where Kobe obviously was by himself in a sense with Shmush Parker, Lamar Odom, and then they get Pau Gasol, and then boom, championship run again. Can you talk about what it was like reporting around that era and kind of how that
get mad about you, Gilbert? What did he just do that's gonna piss me off?
I asked, can you talk about?
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You got a master's degree, bro, and you're
not yet
going. Can you you write 20-page papers about this, and then you end up with, can you talk about Pep? So there, what I hate about Mexicans when they say, can you talk about this, right? No, so my story is I'm a freelancer now. I work at CBS2 on Sundays. I do a lot of boxing play. I work for, I call myself Mr. 1099, where it means I'm a freelancer and I work for everybody, and if I don't work, I don't get paid. For a lot of years, I worked at ESPN Radio in Los Angeles. I was the beat guy where I would just go to every single game, Angels, Dodgers, Clippers, Lakers, USC, UCLA for a lot of years. And that was, I was there before, like 2006 is when I started doing Laker stuff, where I was only allowed to go to practices. And then they got better, and I became their guy where I just go to every practice, shoot around in games, and they were good. So that was a good run. Ended like in 2014, 15, something like that, when they eliminated my position. That was when the first of the ESPN cuts, where you don't need people giving you reports on the radio anymore because it's on our phone, it's on Twitter, it's on social media. But by that time, I was already branching out to do other stuff, and that's what I'm doing now. So I'm just trying to survive in this crazy ass business. And I see you guys, and I look at you guys, and I'm like, how can I help you? So I'm 42. So when I started in this 2000 Democratic National Convention was my first ever internship. I was a professional junior college All-American, which meant I went to a bunch of different ones, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Much like you, Fernando, you were talking about how you were kind of too sure. Then Gilbert, same kind of deal where you took that class at Northridge and you're like, hey, you're good at this. I didn't. I just knew I liked sports, and I knew I wanted to work in it, and I had no idea how as a reporter. In high school, I was the editor of the sports page because it got me into the games for free. Like, simple as that. It was an easy class. And then I thought I wanted to be a doctor, lawyer, all that other stuff. And I took a journalism class, and all of a sudden the light bulb went on. Friday morning, 8:00, Lori Medikovich at El Camino College. She's like, you're a good writer. I'm like, I am? She's like, that's a real good lead. I'm like, what's a lead? Like, but through osmosis over the years of reading the LA Times and reading Sports Illustrated, reading everything sports related, I guess I knew how to. I couldn't write a term paper to save my life, but I could write you a sports story. And that's where it all went on. Internship with CNN. I didn't know I wanted to be on air. I really just was happy to be like a prep sports writer and be like, this is cool. Like, that's it. That's all I need to do. And I was like, let me go work for Sports Illustrated. That was my dream. Write stories for Sports Illustrated. And then I started working at the radio station, the guy setting up the tents, throwing out stuff. And there I learned how to be a producer, editing, doing all that other digital stuff. And I didn't want to be on air. I was like, let me work behind the scenes. I guess subconsciously I told myself I couldn't be on air because there was no examples of anybody on air that looked like us. Not that I needed that, but it was just more of, you look at the landscape, it's like, damn, there's 4 TV stations in town. That means there's 8 guys doing sports, and they've been here forever. Jim Hill's been here forever. Fred Rogan's been here forever. Ralph Fukazaki's been here forever. They don't go anywhere. And the odds were against you. And not that I was scared of that. I just didn't really care about being on air. I was like, let me be behind the scenes. I like producing stuff, doing stuff. And Shelly Smith, met her. I was answering the phones for her on Christmas Eve at the radio station. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, talking. She's like, well, you're smart. You're talk. You should be on air. I'm like, not really. Like, that's not my deal. And then she's like, she kind of talked me up, and I was like, yeah. So I started working at Hawthorne Cable, Hawthorne Lawndale Cable, doing high school games for free just because it was fun. Started working at Adelphia Cable in the San Gabriel Valley. Going Arcadia games, Baldwin Park, like South El Monte, like all those small schools in that area, and just doing games, sucking really bad, but it was fun to do. And from there, it's just like, wow, I do like being on that camera. And then plug it away. Then 2021, we're still here trying to plug away. I'm in my garage in the Beto Duran studios talking to you guys on a podcast on something that didn't exist a couple years ago.
Beto, I've known you for a couple of years, but I did not know the entire backstory. So we're not strangers anymore. So it's good to know that you were once a writer like myself, and now I'm kind of feeling like I'm relating to you a little bit. I'm still far away from your path, but at one point did you kind of realize that you're good at being on camera, on the radio, and kind of voicing your opinion and stuff like that?
When people ask me, do I get nervous on TV? I always say no, and it's not a cocky thing to say. It's more of like when you're taking a test, when you're prepared and you know what you're going to talk about, it's not that hard. It's when you're BSing and you have no idea what you're saying that you get exposed. Like, we're talking about sports is something that we know. If I had to talk about the stock market or Bitcoin or anything else right now, I'd be like, but we know what we're talking about. Like, we can go and reference Tony Gwynn batting 394, like out of nowhere. And people are like, how do you know that? How do you not? Is my answer to all that stuff. Like Fernando in his glossary memory of every single WrestleMania. Like, I have no idea what he's talking about. When you guys had the wrestling guys on, I was like, I had to fast forward because I had no idea what you guys were talking about. But his passion coming out for it, he sold it. And that's the same thing that I do when I'm on TV or on the radio. It's when I was more of a reporter. I sucked as a radio, like, arguing person. Like, I did First Take and I did all those other shows on ESPN, and I was decent, but I'm like, do I really care about the Big Ten championship right now? No. Like, I'm not going to make up an opinion about this stuff because I don't care. I'm more of a reporter. I like telling you the story. I like telling you what's going on instead of my opinion. Like, I don't need to be heard all the time. So I met you guys because the Chargers moved to LA, and I was tabbed to be the host of Charger Talk on AM 570, the Chargers radio network. And it was cool. So what do? I go and I find out who's on the beat. Like, my thing is, wherever I'm going to work, I know who everybody is. Like, I know, like Gilbert, when you were in Las Vegas writing stuff, I would keep my eye on you. I'm like, okay, who's this kid? Because I realized a few years ago that the lack of Latinos in our business, there aren't any. It's, you have, especially on a big national platform. Now, there's a lot of guys locally, but I'm talking about national platform. Because when I went to ESPN to do those, I would go, like, when Skip Bayless would take vacation, they would bring me in to do like First Take and stuff like that. But I knew my role. I'm like, I'm there because they need a brown guy. Like, I ain't dumb. Like, but I would go and fill it out. I was like kind of going that way. But you would see who's there nationally, and you're like, damn. Like, when you leave LA, you realize how white the world is in our business, and it's really bad. And when you go up and you see the executives, and there's nothing against it. It's just there's no pipeline of any Latinos coming anywhere. And I have a bunch of different mentors that kind of tell me, like, hey, you're at a level now where you can help people out. I never, ever, 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 and I still to this day don't want to be known as the Latino on TV. I don't want to be known as the Mexican reporter. And we all fight through this where it's like, no, I'm fucking Gilbert Manzano from the Orange County Register. I'm Fernando Ramirez from NBC San Diego. Like, that's who I am. I'm a badass reporter who just happens to be Mexican, and I bring you a different perspective. But it's really quick to be pigeonholed by executives because they don't know our culture, how we grew up, because a lot of the executives don't know anybody like us. And that's not their fault. It's just the way you're brought up. Like, we don't know any affluent white guys. Like you put Fernando from Chula and you throw him in La Jolla, he's not going to do well because he doesn't have anything in common with those guys, and vice versa. But the executives usually come from a La Jolla or like a super different place. So we know how to blend in, but we don't get those opportunities because what do people do? They hire people that they know. They hire people that they're connected with. Same in sports. You look at the executive offices, the GMs always bring in somebody from their school. Look, Tom Telesco, he's the king of bringing Division III guys to help out with the Chargers, and they're good at what they do, but there's that network. Latinos, we have, especially in the media, we have the ultimate crab in a bucket mentality of, oh, that guy's doing good? Fuck that, he ain't that good. I'm better than him. Oh, he's charging $1,000 for the show? I'll charge $500 just to get that job. And I deal with that all the time. But like, that's what we do. And we also have the part of everybody's like, oh, you speak Spanish, go work in Spanish. Like, nah, I don't work like Telemundo. I don't speak like them, man. Like, I'm Mexican Spanish, which is way different than the proper Spanish that we're told. So right away, how many times have you guys been like, oh man, if you could, you should go write for Deportes? Fool, nobody reads that. My audience isn't reading that. Like, my audience knows football, not football. Like, you know, like
I got that in NBC San Diego.
I thought you worked I thought you worked in Spanish. Honestly.
No, I had to help with Telemundo. So like I would do my NBC job, and then on top of that I had to do Telemundo job too. And it was like, that's why like when we had MJ on, we knew we had to do doubles. Like, we had to work on both NBC and Telemundo, but still only get paid for the NBC portion of it.
Yeah, I know. People to this day think I work in Spanish. I get introduced as the guy from Deportes. I don't correct them. I mean, they don't know any better. But I don't care. So that was my thing. So like, I started noticing that there was a lack of Latinos. And once I was like, hey, I'm on a bigger platform. Like, let me help out people that are younger, that are good. Because there's a lot of guys that suck. Like, I'm not going to go and vouch for anybody who sucks. Just because you're brown, I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, let me help you out. Like, no, you can't write to save your life. Cool. So I would see you in Vegas, and I'm like, let me keep an eye on him, because now that I've been around long enough, I know who the editors are. I know who the bosses making decisions. And I always get asked, like, hey, do you know anybody that might be up for this job? Do you know? And I'm like, I would throw out names like, hey, check out this person, check out that person. Not that like they're coming to me to like, oh, we need Beto, like the headhunter. But it was just more of like, to see somebody, I'm not trying to get them the job, but just to help somebody get their foot in that door to maybe even have an opportunity for an interview. Because if you can interview, that could lead to something else, and also put your name in there. Like, I'm a great networker. I do a great job of connecting with everybody all the time. And the problem is, like, you guys are really quiet and shy because you think you're young. Like I've told you over and over, closed mouths don't get fed, man. You guys are really talented at what you do, but nobody knows who you guys are because you guys are kind of just doing that. Let me stay in my lane. Let me stay in my role. Like, no, you guys are badass at what you do. Like Fernando, I knew of him because he was in San Diego. And I'm like, this kid is driving up from San Diego to Charger camp. And I know who he is. But he works for NBC4.com in San Diego or whatever, NBC5, whatever it is. And I'm like, so I would read what he was doing and I'd see how he was working. I'm like, all right, this kid's hustling. He's doing something. Not that I'm going and saying, okay, when Fernando's ready to come kiss my ring, I can get him a job. But it's just more of like, I'm paying attention to him because you see the grind that's going on, because not many people are trying to help each other out. And I'm trying to change that amongst us, because if you look at the amount of Latinos in the media, in the English side across the country, they don't exist, let alone on a beat. The fact that there's two of you on one beat, it might be the Chargers and it might be the smallest beat in LA. But like, as I tell people, when I was host of the Chargers postgame show for a couple of years, I didn't work for the Chargers. I worked in the NFL. I sell myself big. Like, what do you do? I was the only Latino post-game radio show host in the NFL. Like, not that it matters, but it matters to somebody, because the 17-year-old Beto, if he can see that, hey, there's that guy that looks like me, that sounds like me. First of all, his name's Beto. Like, what kind of name is that? Like, how do you say that? Like, wow, that fool didn't have to change his name. If I had a middle name, it'd be so much easier in my life, but I don't have one. So I can't use it. My real name is Humberto. Like, I'm not going to become a Humbert on TV or radio. They're not going to do that. Like Gilberto, like all of a sudden you're all proud to be Gilberto. Like, dude, stay with Gilbert, man. It makes your life a lot easier.
It's Gilberto, not Gilberto. Come on,
whatever,
Beto.
Gil. Like, it's just fine. Your life is so easy because you have an American name.
Yeah, no,
in the podcast world.
No, you're right. You know,
I'm Beto, Beto, Beto. I've been all.
Beto.
What does Jim Hill call you?
Huh?
What does Jim Hill call you?
Beto.
Okay.
Jim Hill grew up in Mexicans in Texas.
There you go. There you go.
True.
I also never remind people.
Well, Beto, you got me thinking, because when we were talking last, you're trying to, I guess, count how many NFL beat reporters are Latino, in English media, and we can only count in one hand. And like you mentioned, two are right here, Fernando and myself. So when you put it in that kind of point of view, they're lacking. There's not that many minorities covering the NFL. So
that's all sports. That's all.
Yeah, no, even in baseball, it's pretty much Spanish, and it's still lacking there. But Beto, you keep bringing up Vegas, but when I met you in Vegas, I felt like I already knew you from the radio, because I grew up in Los Angeles and I heard you on ESPN LA all the time, talking to Kobe, just giving your sideline reporting. But I think there was a point in time you were done with ESPN LA, and take me back to that kind of moment, and because you have a bunch of gigs now. You mentioned the freelancing.
You have no choice.
And yeah, that side of hustling. How hard is it to be a freelancer? And taking me back to after ESPN LA, what was going through your mind? Did it feel like a crossroads for you?
No. So when I saw the writing on the wall, like social media was really blowing up, and you start, like, people don't know where you work. They follow you, Fernando. They follow you, Gilberto, because of who you are. Like, I hate sounding like this, but you're a brand, right? And at that time, Instagram was out, and I got really good at it. And I'm like, social media, good. People were like, they follow me for me, but they didn't know where I worked. So like, that was, I started noticing that, like, and I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. They're like, oh, so where do you work? I love your Instagram, but where do you work? And I'm like, that really, I saw the changing of it. But I was also doing more TV at Spectrum Sports. Like, I already saw the writing on the wall. Like, eventually this job at ESPN is going to be done. Like, you don't need to be doing updates. Like at Hacksaw in San Diego, when he'd come out and give you the best 15 minutes in sports. Like Hacksaw, I saw all that this morning on Twitter. Like, I don't need the high-speed sports wire, because the internet exists on my phone now. Like, so you have to evolve. That's when I started doing play-by-play for boxing. I had an opportunity to do that. I auditioned for it and I got it. I've always wanted to do play-by-play, but when you're at ESPN, you can't, because your contract says you have to do certain things. You have to be loyal to this, because it's, hey, you're the reporter. So you can't go work for other people. Like, so I was doing boxing play-by-play because it wasn't in my contract. So I was allowed to do that. So that was cool, but I was already transitioning to hosting at Spectrum Sports, doing some Laker contributions. So I was already doing a bunch of stuff, because I've always said, don't ever have any kind of loyalty in this business. In sports, I'm just talking about in sports, because you'll be replaced quickly, and you have to always be setting up your next move. Not to say that you're looking to find your next job, but you have to be constantly evolving. You guys were writers. Now you're podcast hosts. You're branching out and evolving. You have to do that. So I saw the writing on the wall. I know the business is changing. It's a terrible business. Freelance, like, I'll invoice somebody and I don't get paid for another 3 months. It's just the way it happens. It's all kinds of things of like, what are you going to do with your life and how are you going to live? So like, I don't have a fancy car because I know that the checks aren't coming in. At ESPN, you get paid every 2 weeks. You know where your money's coming from. Freelance is like for example, I was supposed to work a Jaime Munguia fight 2 weeks ago in El Paso. That fight got canceled because somebody got hurt. So I'm not going to eat for a couple months because that fight's now in July or June. I don't even know. But like, you have to go through that and you can't complain about it because you create your own opportunities. The job is absolutely amazing. Getting the job sucks. Like, look at you, Gilberto. You're a football writer. You don't want to be pigeonholed as just as that. So you go work boxing the other day, right? That's great. You're branching out. You're doing other stuff. You got to show that you're versatile. Like Fernando is the one doing all the video, doing all the hosting, all the other stuff because he has that background back there. You're versatile. The writers who have been dinosaur and they're gone, they're complaining about how it's all changed, is because they didn't adapt. You have to adapt to everything you do. You can't be the same person you were at 20 than you were at 30 and 40.
Yeah, no, definitely, Beto. If somebody does check out your social media, I mean, we know that your son obviously plays basketball, high school basketball. You covered Russell Westbrook. You've covered some of these great athletes. Is your son the next Russell Westbrook to branch out? Or and obviously, what was it like having to cover Russell Westbrook and some of these athletes and now see them be superstars in the NBA? Okay,
we've all done high school games, and I love doing high school stuff because the innocence is still there to an extent. Like you could tell, like Russell Westbrook wasn't the best player on his high school team at Lusinger. He was like, I did his high school senior year. He wasn't recruited. He was going to go to University of San Diego, but Jordan Farmar left UCLA, so he went to UCLA. So it wasn't like these guys are like, oh, all the way they are now. But you see that and you see their growth, and you're like, that's awesome to see these kids. Like whatever it is, you go and do a high school game, you're like, remember about it, like, oh, damn, they're in college. That's cool. They moved on. And if they get to the NBA, they get to that level, like, awesome. I always say, like, I saw them in high school, but it's great. Like, I was talking about this the other day. One of the first times I ever did basketball play-by-play was for this online company with Frank Burleson, the Hall of Fame basketball writer. And in one day at this one tournament, we had DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Drew Holiday, Klay Thompson. It was like 6 different games that we did, and we did all these kids in one day. Like, it was like, were any of these guys like NBA like potential then? No, but you see that happening. So I still do high school games now. I'm working with a company, NFHS, just to practice on my reel. I don't need to do it. I mean, but I do it because it's fun to just go out there and do a game. And I posted the other day, like, why would I do this? Because I know I've had some colleagues tell me, like, dude, I can't believe you're driving to go to these games. They're not even paying you. You're not doing that. I'm like, but I'm getting better. I'm working at my craft. I can't go and say, oh, I've done this. I've been on Fox. I've been on ESPN. I've done world championship fights. Well, what's that doing for me for tomorrow? How's that what I've done helping me right now pay a bill? Like, so you have to constantly get better and check your ego at all times. So back to your question, Fernando, like, was it a crossroads? I don't ever view it as a crossroads. I'm like, cool, that's done. What's next? Always find what's next, continue to evolve and try to figure things out. But the high school stuff is fun. It's the innocence that you have in these kids of when you know that they're scared to do an interview. Even though the kids now have huge social media followings, there's a kid down in Chula, Mikey Williams, basketball player.
He actually moved.
Yeah, but he moved to North Carolina. But he's still a San Ysidro boy, part of the Border Boys and all that other stuff. But like that kid has 1 million followers, so he knows how to do interviews. But there's other ones where just like you talk to, you're like, oh wow. So it's cool to see that where they're not trained yet to give you the, hey, love being drafted by Pizza Hut, like that kind of stuff.
All right, Beto, let's take it to the present. I see you all the time on Channel 2, CBS, with the great Jim Hill. And, I'm gonna give you some credit, some praise. I know you like praise, Beto. So I got to say, I really like how you're yourself on TV. What we see right now, that's what you are on Channel 2. You dropped the word ganas. No modelos yet, but yes, let me get that in my hand real quick. So here's some praise. But, touch on that, being yourself and because I know we see it in the business. You got to have your white voice, your professional voice, but you kind of stay away from that. How's that been for you being with Jim Hill?
I sound white. What are you talking about, man?
Nah.
So I was told this, like, I've had really good mentors, and anybody who's listening, always find good mentors. Mentors that are brutally honest with you. Don't surround yourself with people that tell you how great you are. Like, I mess with you guys, but I also tell you guys very bluntly what's really good about what you do and what's not good. I'm not saying not good, but it's just more like things you can improve on. I was told early on when I started doing boxing play-by-play, hey, do this way. All right. Hey, do it that way. All right. And finally, I got told by a mentor who was watching one day, like, hey, who's the guy announcing the fight yesterday? I'm like, not me. They're like, no, it wasn't. Who was that guy? And I'm like, whoa, they've been telling me to do it this way. They've been telling me to do it that way because TV executives love to tell you what to do. And she told me, hey, you're going to get fired. You're going to get replaced. Why not get fired or replaced for being yourself? Because if you get fired for acting like somebody else, and then all of a sudden they hire somebody that's exactly who you are, you're doing yourself a disservice. And also the listener, the viewer knows when you're fake. They know when you're using a fake voice. They know when you're trying too hard. So just be yourself. The only person that you really need to impress is yourself. So when you look at yourself in the mirror after you've done a show, are you happy with who you were, what you presented? And if you are, great. And if the boss isn't, oh, well, he wasn't going to like you anyways. You're going to get replaced. So might as well get fired for being yourself. And I remember hearing that years ago, and I'm like, that really does make a lot of sense. And it made things a lot easier because when we go on TV, we always try to act like what we've always seen. Now, there's a certain way, like you can't be going up, hey, fool, this is that. Like you can't sound like Felipe Esparza and all that. But there's a way to like have fun and be yourself. But there's also a time and place. Now, if I'm the main host, I'm not cracking the jokes. I'm not doing stuff. if I'm like on CBS, I'm the partner for Jim Hill. It's Jim Hill's show. But there's times where you just start talking, like how you said, I a couple times I said, all you need is your ganas, right? I'm quoting Stand and Deliver. And I didn't know that made an impact on people. And people were like, dude, you just said that on TV, because we don't hear that stuff because you forget the audience is there. But I said it naturally, right? If I would have been like, oh yeah, and then throw chingazos, like you're forcing things. The audience also knows when you're fake. So just be yourself at the end of the day. Like I got you on TV when we were at Charger game. I didn't know you had never been on TV. I didn't know that.
Live TV.
Live TV. So they asked me, hey, you're going to be at the Charger game, get a Charger reporter to come on. First person I thought was you, because somebody once gave me the opportunity. I wanted to give you the opportunity. And you did well, but you ran over, you were late. I could have easily just been like, not that you were late, you were busy because your timing was wrong. But TV, we're live, we have to go. And what did I do? Like, man, why are you making Jim Hill wait? Right? I'm playing, and you knew that I was like joking with you, laughing you, and we went with it. If I would have been like, and here's Gilbert Manzano now joins us, Gilbert, like you would have been even more nervous. But I'm like, Gilbert, why are you late, man? I'm like,
Jim Hill doesn't like waiting.
I gotta admit, that was pretty cool. When I watched the video where Jim Hill got introduced to me, I'm like, I watched this guy growing up my entire life. And then Beto, you really kind of helped me out, because I was running down there. I was already kind of tired. You're like, hey, catch your breath. And it kind of felt natural. We were just having fun with it. So that was pretty cool to do that with you.
I'm just happy that I'll give you opportunity to do that. Like I see Fernando doing stuff, and like it's about paying it forward. And that's what I'm trying to do.
No, and we definitely appreciate that. I appreciate my invite on CBS.
Suck, I would help you.
I appreciate my time on CBS this year too. I mean, that was pretty. Oh wait, I forgot.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. This is what. Okay, here.
I'm just messing.
No. Here, okay, so I got this fake group, right? The Latino Media All Stars. I created. Look, let me give the people. I've also hijacked your podcast, but the people listening are enjoying this. So it goes back to the lack of diversity. Years ago, we're in the Chick Hearn media room at Staples Center. Myself, Mark Spears from ESPN, and Jay Adonde, now the professor at Northwestern. And we're in there, and we look around, and we're like, this is during the playoffs, maybe 2008 or something like that. Look around, like, and I made the joke, like, damn, there ain't no Mexicans in here. To J.A., who's from L.A., Santa Monica, whose mom was a professor at El Camino College. It's like, ain't no black guys in here either. And we're like, this is the NBA playoffs. And we start looking around, we're like, damn, like, so 2008 wasn't that long ago, but the media has changed, right? For diversity. And I'm like, man, well, you guys are like, Mark, you're from Oakland. You know what's up. J.A., you're from L.A. Like, I'll make you guys Mexican right now. So as a joke between us, we're like, dude, we're the Latino Media All-Stars. We're the ones in here, right? That was a joke. And J.A. went along with it on Twitter. It was like, oh, the Latino Media All-Stars the following year when Twitter started. Like, we're in Orlando. So it just became a joke, like, mi hermano this, mi hermano that, just like you guys, compa, right? So yeah. J.A. and Mark were the compas, and we just started including all the non-white guys in the NBA circle. Everybody's black. So, like, Brad Turner, the late Sekou Smith, who's at that time the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So all these guys became the Latino Media All-Stars. That became the joke. And then we started getting more, and then I started going to events. I see Bernardo soon. I'm like, dude, you're a Latino Media All-Star, all this other stuff. And it became a joke of like, how come all the All-Stars, none of them are Mexican? Because there's no Mexicans in the media. That was the joke. So it was like an inside joke. And then once it got to Twitter, it got a little bit better. And then once we started seeing people blow up, like, dude, you're a Latino Media All-Star. But then it was like, but you also got to be cool, right? You can't just be because you're Latino. So Gilbert was in right away because he was cool. Fernando, who didn't introduce himself to anybody, he would just sit there and like, hey guys, like, or whatever. Like, he wasn't part of it. So like, he wasn't. Eric Williams, the Charger beat reporter, instant Latino All-Star. Fernando, nah. Like, yeah, he wasn't there. But that became this, like, so Mark Medina, who covers NBA for USA Today, was like, hey, can I be an All-Star? Like, nah, Mark, you're an All-Star. So he was, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. So it was,
you can't ask.
Right. Yeah. So it was like, Mark's like, I'm finally in as the All-Star. So it's just a terrible inside joke. And it's like, we're still waiting if Fernando's going to get in. So that's the reason you weren't on CBS, because we had to get the All-Stars first before we get you, bro.
You know what's funny is that Eric told me that too, because Eric would always see me in, like, at Chargers and stuff. and I would just kind of stick to myself because I mean I didn't want to like bother anybody. I knew my role, and I just kind of was going underneath and not really showing out until like recently, where I really showed a little bit more of my personality. But it was funny because in training camp, I'm gonna wait for Eric to tell the full story. But in training camp, he would come up to me. I'd be wearing a suit in training camp, 100-degree weather, and he'd be like, "Bro, start wearing shorts." And I'd be like, no, I know my role. Like, I have to be here. I have to look presentable because I thought like I had to look presentable. I had to look a certain way. And he'd be like, "Bro, just go shorts and t-shirt, short." And then finally I started doing that when they moved to LA. But like at the beginning, I would not do that. And Eric would like come over to me. I'd be like, "Dude, I know you're struggling right now."
That's cool. No, that's good though. You overdress for the part. That's fine until you get the the padrino like telling you like, "Hey, you're good, bro."
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was one of those things, but I understand. I understand. I'm a junior. I'm a junior Latino.
You know how
all-star.
No, you're not even junior, bro.
Oh, you said that on Twitter though.
Like we're gonna believe Twitter?
You know how I found out about the Latino All-Stars, Beto? It was through Paul Coral, former Suns beat writer at the Arizona Republic.
I forgot about Paul. He's one of the original founders. That's right.
That's my guy right there.
Paul Coral, great guy. So it was Paul Coral, was him and Izzy Gutierrez, the only beat writers in the NBA at that time, because Izzy was at the Miami Herald. Yeah, Paul Coral, great. That's another person who mentors young people and like, hey, show you the way.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, no, I was at the Arizona Republic, and I think it was my last day, and I think Paul was really busy with covering the Suns, and he calls me like, "Hey, I'm I know you got one more day, and let's go get a drink. Let's go to Buffalo Wild Wings and kind of catch up." And he put a bunch of time and effort just to get to know me, and we're still friends today. So guys like that and yourself, Beto, more credit for you. Give me that Modelo. We need guys like that around to kind of bring the next generation coming forward.
100%.
Well, thanks. I'm here to help.
But
I'm here to help anybody. I'm here to help anybody who works hard, and there's not many of them.
Yeah, no, and we definitely always appreciate it. You've always been there for us, and we definitely do appreciate it. But I know you don't like to be pigeonholed, but we do. You're a boxing guy. You work for DAZN. We have to ask you about this weekend's matchup. It's going to be a great fight. Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders. Who you got and why, Beto, this weekend?
When do we go back to being professional here? We're having a good conversation as a compa. Now, see, Fernando, let me tell you. As a host of 3 different podcasts for a lot of years, you just let the conversation flow, man. Don't become all professional. Would you ask that question in the backyard?
No. Well, yeah, because, I mean, you're talking about sports and you're like, who's going to, I mean, obviously I wouldn't go with the whole, with that beginning part, but I would ask you like, hey, who you got this weekend? Canelo or Saunders?
Leave it like that.
Okay. Who you got this weekend?
Who you got, compa?
Yeah. That's it.
¿A quién le vas?
There it is, Fernando. Like, okay. So for people who don't know, I'm their spiritual advisor on the podcast world. So I listen to it and I listen to every episode, and you guys are doing well. You're evolving every single week and you're doing well, man. I can hear the passion in you, Fernando. That's awesome. But then you go back to reporter mode and it's like, man, leave that for your Charger podcast that you do with somebody else, right? Like, go be professional over there. Like, here, like, that's another thing I was taught. If you were at a bar, would you say this to your friends? Like, as far as like announcing and reporting, and it's like, they said that he's whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, all those sport cliche terms that we get from coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But don't use that in your reporting, because would you say that to your friends? And if you're said to your friend at the bar, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, some of the terms that we use in sports, and someone forget me right now, but like, you know what we're talking about? Like, it was a strain. This is that. Like, not full. His leg hurts. Like, just say that when you're having the conversation. But as far as this weekend, the fight, it's not going to be a great fight. Like, Canelo's going to work. Canelo's going to control. Canelo's going to do well. Billy Joe Saunders has a really awkward style. He doesn't get hit much. Canelo defense is really fantastic. It's a different world. It's going to be a good fight. It'll be fun. Is it great? I don't use the word great ever, unless you're talking about Tony Gwynn. And that's it. It'll be a good fight. It'll be fun. Canelo will win. He'll get a decision. He'll control it. Every British guy that they set up for Matchroom is there, and there's some resistance. But Billy Joe Saunders can sell a fight. He's different. I did his fight when he fought David Lemieux, and it was just him. That's the one where David Lemieux is trying to hit him, and Saunders is missing him, and he goes like this, like, woo, like, where you at? So it'll be a fun card. Any Canelo fight is good. This guy is in the peak shape of his life, prime. just a different beast. I went and saw him work out like 2 months ago. I was down in your San Diego area where he lives.
Thanks
during
for the
camp.
hit up.
Huh?
Could have hit me up. We could have gone to a bar and I would have bought you a beer.
No. You're in Chula. I don't go to Chula, man. That's Adrian.
Bro, I would have gone up to you.
His bar was, I mean, nah, man. You, Slater, and Adrian Gonzalez can hang out in Chula Vista, man. You guys will be all right. But no, Canelo's just a freak athlete. If you want to see something crazy, he's a golfer now. And
oh wow.
Yeah, he started playing a year ago and really into it. Started learning on YouTube, and he shoots in the 80s now. He plays 4 days a week, 5 days a week. So he trains till 12. Then he goes and has a golf lesson at 1. And he said the golf is giving him something to do during camp because all of a sudden you're bored and it's something that's competitive for him. That's how good he is right now in the boxing world. That he needs another challenge.
What's your score, Beto? You golf a lot too. I see you on the IG stories all the time.
Because I'm trying to create content for my next move. Like, I'm not golfing every day. I'm always posting that I am. Part of it is you're talking about the evolution. Like when I was in my 20s, I was working X Games. I'm in my 40s now. I can't be covering X Games. I can't be doing that. So I'm evolving. I'm trying to get into the golf world there. Like I do play a lot, but I started taking it serious during the pandemic like everybody else. But there's an untapped market there, and I'll tell you guys afterwards. But if you look at it, you always got to zig when everybody else is zagging, right? And if you look at you talk about I've done everything in this business, so I'm already established there. Even though people don't know me, but I'm already established enough. So where's everybody else at? We're always go where nobody else is at. Right now in the golf world, you know how many brown people there are, media wise?
Dos, zero. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny. I have a quick Canelo story. A couple of years ago, I was at East Lake Tavern in Bull. It's like a bowling place, and it's a bar. And it was pretty, there was about 30, 40 people there. Canelo shows up with security and everything. Quickly, 40 people become 250 people. People were texting people, Canelo's here, Canelo's here. Everybody floods in, they knock down the little barrier. The security's not able to stop people. They had to grab Canelo and take him out and everything. That's just how powerful, not powerful, but how popular Canelo's become. And this was back in 2015. I think he had just fought Floyd Mayweather a couple of months after fighting Floyd Mayweather. He had just gotten so big, and I feel like that was the fight that really blew him up, and just so many people over him. I just remember the security, when he was walking out of here, security go, yeah, we can never come here anymore. And the place was so mad.
You have you done a Canelo fight, Gilbert?
Yeah, plenty, a bunch. Ringside.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. No, I was telling you on Twitter, dude, hearing the Mexican in the U.S. national anthem for the first time in a very long time with fans in Carson at the War Grounds, it was exciting, man. But especially for Canelo, ringside, being there for a good amount.
Fernando, have you worked the fight?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I want to. That'd be awesome. I mean, I see what Gilbert's been doing, and I've seen his stuff, and I'm like, that's awesome.
You work for who?
For Sports Illustrated.
Be hard. No, because they already have people from Sports Illustrated credential. Right? Chris Mannix will be there.
Yeah.
I can get you a credential.
There you go.
The next Carson fight that Golden Boy does, I'll get you a credential. You got to come do a fight, and we'll do it right. We'll set it up because you also just damn. I sound like a hater, but the amount of people that can write in boxing, maybe 3 people. In the boxing media, everybody just uses their phone and posts on YouTube, and that's great. But the amount of people who can actually write and the amount of Latinos that can write boxing, it's Gilbert. There is no other boxing writer in the country that's bilingual.
No, and Gilbert's stuff is I read his Andy Ruiz piece last week. Very, very good piece. Yeah. And I know you have to be different when it comes to writing for boxing. I know boxing is a lot different.
No, you just write features. You're just writing feature stories. You're not writing game stories. You're just writing feature stories. Yeah. But I'm saying is the fact that you're bilingual, you can connect with the fighters in a way that Lance Pugmire or Chris Mannix can't do. Because I'm not dumb. I know why DAZN uses me because I can go and I can translate with the fighters, and when we have our fighter meetings, I know what's going on. It's a huge opportunity. Even though I don't work in Spanish, but knowing how to speak the language helps you, the idiosyncrasies of what's going on. So, that might be the fact you can do. The next Golden Boy fight in LA, I'll take care of you. I'll get you a credential.
Awesome.
Gilbert's on his own, but I'll set you up, Fernando, because
I got my own hookup.
you got to go. Yeah, you have a professional hookup. You're using the Beto hookup over here. You got to go and you got to experience what it's like. You got to get your feet wet a little bit. And then when you work a Vegas fight and you're there and you're like, fuck, like this is crazy. 20,000 people singing Mexicanos al grito, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not the most patriotic person. I ain't trying to go to Tijuana, but then you're there in the building. You're like, damn. And then when you hear Vicente Fernandez song come on, you're like,
oh yeah.
It's like, dude. So the first fight I ever worked in Vegas, as far as like, I've been there as a reporter before that, but the first one where I was the actual broadcaster was Canelo against Margarito, 2014, something like that. I was doing the international broadcast, and I look up, and I'm like, it was my third fight ever, and I look up. And you hear that, Mexicano, and I look up, I'm like, dude, that's Pepe Aguilar. Like, I'm sitting ringside. I'm tripping out that I'm ringside, right? Because I'm so locked in the zone of like, don't mess up. This is your big audition. Don't mess up. Don't mess up. And I look, I'm like, dude, there's Pepe right there. And he walks by. When he gets off the ring, he walks next to me. And I'm like, hey, I put my hand out. He's like, hey, little fist bump from Pepe. I'm like, dude, you're fucking 6'5", bro. Like, that's a big compa right there. Like, I'm like, but it was just the entire building singing it. And you just get chills. And it's like, damn, it makes you like want to go like start selling avocados or something.
Well, Beto, obviously, we appreciate your time. We learned a lot. I mean, and obviously we knew your story, but we didn't know the whole thing. So I'm serious. This has been awesome. I mean, Pepe Aguilar, are you kidding? Like getting the fist bump with him and just your journey's been incredible. And we truly do appreciate you helping us out. You really were instrumental in us kind of changing courses when it came to Compas on the Beat. We didn't know what we could really do with it, and when you opened our eyes, we really went, wow, okay.
So can I tell the story?
A lot more. Huh?
Can I tell the story now that you guys have sponsors and you have everything else?
Go ahead.
You want me to air the laundry?
We're good.
Okay.
You sure?
I'm good. Yeah, I don't care.
We're not live, are we?
Compas on the Beat is growing. And I look at it and I'm like, hell yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to hear from you guys. Because in the podcast space, and I hate sounding like I'm always like Latino this, but like you got to go where nobody's at. You guys don't exist. And I heard the first podcast, and I heard it, and I'm like, this is boring. And I'm being completely honest. It's boring because it sounded like everybody else. It sounded like every other podcast. And I even told Fernando, I'm like, hey, what's the difference between this one and your Charger one that you do with? I'm sorry,
Lorenzo Neal.
I want to say Nate Means, but it's not.
No.
It's Lorenzo Neal. And that's a really good, informative Charger podcast. And I'm like, that's great. But knowing you, Fernando, and your personality, knowing Gilbert and how he doesn't have a personality, Gilbert is a typical writer where he's quiet, subdued, laid back, right? Where it's like he's dry. He has a little smart ass remarks. Like Fernando is a TV guy, like you guys were a good blend. And I'm hearing that and I'm like, damn, I've heard you guys talk in the media room. Where's that energy on this podcast? And I even told you guys, like, forget doing Chargers or anything like that. You guys have so many different interests. You guys are unique. You're interesting. And I mean, throw in some Charger stuff. Yeah. But tell the stories of where you've been. Fernando, going and getting his master's, Gilbert in Arizona, the internship programs and everything else. More people relate to you, the people, than they do your Charger stories. So I told him, I was like, look, you guys listen, don't matter. But tell me your story. I want to hear about you writing a story in your car at 8:00 at night, because I, the guy who has the 9-to-5 job, can't relate, but I wish I could have. Like, you guys are living your dream that a lot of people couldn't do. But tell me what it is. Tell me what I can't get on my phone. The same reason I got I got let go from ESPN. I mean, they gave me a severance. I'm good. The reason I got let go is because everybody can get information on their phone. Give me something you can't. That's why I like listening to Compas. I only listen to like 4 different podcasts. You're the only sports podcast I listen to. The other ones are just comedians. And the reason I listen to you guys because I relate to you. You're fun. You're energetic. You give me a little bit of sports, but it's also you take me on your journey and you take me on the beat, and I love that.
Fernando, that's a promo right there. Cut that out. We're gonna put that everywhere.
Oh yeah. That is what it's all about. But we truly appreciate you, Beto. Appreciate for what you've done for Compas. We appreciate you coming on the show, and let folks know where they can find you on social media, because you've talked about your social media a lot. Let folks know where they can find you on social media.
You're such a broadcaster. Hey, let people know where you can find it. How come you don't say it for me?
All right. They can find you at Beto Duran on Twitter.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Good
Beto
research.
Vision.
Thanks.
Huh?
Beto
Good
Vision?
research.
No, it has to be at Beto Duran.
Beto Duran is a photographer in Colombia with 300 followers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he won't sell it to me. Twitter, Duran Sports is where I'm really professional.
Duran Sports. Damn.
Yeah, Duran Sports is really professional. That's kind of boring. I just retweet stories. I don't argue with people. I don't argue with Dodger fans or Laker fans anymore just because it's not even worth it. So I'm just real professional there. That's why I send out links.
His Instagram is where it's a lot more fun.
Instagram is fun. That's where I'm messing around on golf. Beto Vision, because that photographer Beto Duran had all the names Beto Duran taken. And when Instagram started, somebody took my Duran Sports account and wanted to sell it to me. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sell it to you. I'll just create another one. So Beto Vision or Beto Vision. And then my TikTok? YouTube, just go to Beto Duran. I have 3 different podcasts. I have Living the Dream, where I'm gonna go and recycle the one you guys just got right now. That's the one I started when ESPN let me go. I started on podcast. And it's basically I talk to people who are living the dream about how they got to where they're at. I don't care about how much money they got now. Tell me about when you were in the minor leagues and you only had $40 and you're living on an air mattress, or a TV executive. I've had actors, comedians, politicians, and it's really interesting when you tell people you want to come on a podcast, they never say no. So if you want to get into Hollywood, I got people connected in Hollywood now. If you want to get into politics, I have people connected in politics. So that's the Living the Dream. It comes out on Mondays. I do it twice a month, maybe. More of a passion project. Baseball podcast every Tuesday, 10 o'clock. It's the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast with Ricky Romero, former Toronto Blue Jay, and Josh Tolley, former Mets catcher. We talked to baseball players. We just had Joe Musgrove on. Come on, talk about his no-hitter. Musgrove, friend of the show. And he talked about how, he's going to get free beer for life from Ballast Point. For throwing the no-hitter, Ballast Point gave him a card that says he can go to any Ballast Point and drink for free the rest of his life.
Wow.
So that was on. And then Thursday, I do a boxing one called Thirds Diaz with Joel Diaz, the trainer, and Roberto Diaz, Golden Boy matchmaker. You talk about just deals, telling stories. We don't even talk about fights. It's more like, so Roberto, when you ever done a fight in Europe? He's like, yeah, one time I was with Ricky Hatton. Joel Diaz, who trained Timothy Badley, who was actually had Omar Figueroa this weekend. Gilbert, you saw him, would just tell stories. And that started off because I wanted to teach myself how to do video editing. And I told Joel, can you come on? And that was a year ago. And we drink on that show. And now we got stickers and we do all other stuff. So it's fun. It's diversity. Do I get paid for them? No. Do I have fun doing it? Hell yeah. But am I keeping my foot in the door? Yep. And then in about 8 years, I'll be gone and you'll never hear from me again.
Are you on TikTok?
I should be, but I'm not.
I'm telling you, Fernando.
You guys should be.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys are younger, you should be. The reason I'm not on TikTok is because I don't go to games anymore. If I was going to games, I would be on TikTok and show you what's the behind the scenes stuff. Your Instagram, Fernando, should be better because you are at so many cool places, but you don't ever post. You'll post the next day. And especially this year when SoFi, nobody had opportunity to go anywhere, post it, bro. Take me where I can't go. People use sports as an escape and they can't go there. There's people who are Charger fans in London who are never going to go to SoFi. Show me what's going on. But you guys need to get into the TikTok space because there's nobody there in the media doing it. And you want to be a content creator, Brad? I'm telling you, get out. Like I said, if I was going to games, if I was going to every Laker game like I used to, I'd be killing on TikTok. But right now, all I do is take my kids to school and play golf and drink some beer. That's not fun.
Well, again, Beto, we appreciate it. And folks, stay tuned. We got a lot more.